Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this edition of Hypnosis Week Live. Yes, it's me again, Alex William Smith by birth, but known by many of you more under my name, the British bad boy of hypnosis, Jonathan Royal, and it's great to be back again with another guest on Hypnosis Week. A guest who describes himself as 1/5, and if you're not good at fractions, that's 20%, rock star, 1/5 wrestler, 1/5 supervillain, 1/5 punk, and 1/5 devil, but altogether 100% badass. We'll see why he says that in a few moments' time. A gentleman who you may have come across under the name Luke McNamara, or you may have come across LukeNosis, his website and branding. So please welcome to the show. I've already given you a clue, Luke McNamara. How are you doing,
hey, good to see you, JR. Good to finally meet somebody more controversial than myself.
Well, maybe equal, but just in different areas. Look, there was a time when you weren't the Hypno-Punk. There was a time when you weren't a hypnotist. What's your journey been to get to where you are now?
My journey was... this is pretty much the only proper job I've ever had.
Okay.
I got into hypnosis when I was about 17 because I had every problem you could imagine. I was suicidal. I was agoraphobic. I was bullied at school. Basically, I had every problem you could imagine, except I wasn't sexually abused and I wasn't addicted to drugs. Other than that, I could pretty much tick the box on everything. And when I tried to kill myself for the second time and it didn't work, I figured, fuck, the universe is trying to tell me something here. I better start living. And I had years of going through child therapy and all kinds of therapy to fix me. And nothing worked until one day, you know this, on ITV, a British free TV channel, we used to have this hypnosis show called The Hypnotic World of Paul McKenna, every Monday at 8 p.m. And it was a traditional hypnosis show, but for TV, a dog and pony show. But because I was a kid, I was impressionable, and this guy was on my TV every Monday night at prime time, and he's hypnotizing people to do weird and wonderful things. I figured this shit must be real because it's on TV, and only real stuff is on TV, right? So I had a couple of years of that programming, and one day I'm going through the News of the World newspaper, which was one of our, our biggest selling newspapers, our biggest selling newspaper in England. I know you know a lot about those guys, and I had an ad for a supreme self-confidence audio cassette. This was in the mid-90s. It wasn't even in a CD or a MP3. It was an audio cassette. So I borrowed £11, 22 bucks from my big sister, and we sent off in the mail for this audio cassette. And I waited eagerly for about 3 or 4 weeks for it to arrive, and it arrived. I'm like, shit, this is going to change my life. So I listened to it religiously every single day for a month. 22 minutes side A, the pre-talk, 22 minutes side B, the hypnosis, and that fucking generic audio cassette, one size fits all, changed my life. And then once I did that, I'm like, this shit actually works. So I then spent the next 24 years traveling the world, spending way too much money, getting way too many certifications to do my best to become great at this. And here I am. That's the short version of the story.
Excellent. I love the fact that I've encountered somebody who's prepared to admit, and not just admit it, but it happened to you personally, so it's even more powerful, that generic self-help recordings, if listened to in the right state of mind with enough belief, can and do change lives for some people. You know, you say it did for you, but they often get poo-pooed by a lot of people out there. And look, Luke's a living example. You heard what he said. So excellent. I noticed, I'll just through observation, and people who perhaps aren't on your friends list on Facebook or haven't yet encountered you before, so haven't yet looked on YouTube or on Google, which obviously I encourage you all to do. LukeNosis.com, Luke McNamara, also Luke Michael Howard, you'll find stuff as well.
It's weird. I'll tell you about that. I got 2 birth certificates when I was born. My mum was Howard, my dad was McNamara, and somehow I managed to get 2 birth certificates. So for most of my life, I was Luke Michael Howard. I got that birth certificate, but my dad's McNamara, so I've got that as well. So I can go either way.
This is weird because I have got 2 birth certificates, which I found out by accident when I lost one, and I went to get one at the registrar's place, and I said, "Yeah, it's Alex William Smith by birth. That's how I was registered. My mum's maiden name, Margaret Nation. My dad's name, Keith." And they came back and they went, "We've got an Alex William Nation with Margaret Nation, mother, and Keith Smith." So I ordered it, and then I left it a few weeks and went back, and I don't know how, but I was registered in their books twice. Same thing. Odd.
Yeah.
Just getting a bit X-Files of this, a bit odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fuck. So, I mean, this is quite a theme that it's amazing how many people's journey stories it were involves at some point hypnotherapy or a derivative, but essentially hypnosis mind program being a solution to something in their own life. And that leading to, you said, I mean, you got, I don't know where to go with this because there's so many areas. I've got to ask you, why do you describe yourself as 20% rock star, 20% supervillain, 20% wrestler, 20% punk, and 20% devil?
All right, let's take care of the rock star. Look at me, I'm a fucking rock star. Number 1. Number 2, I grew up. The most consistent thing in my life is wrestling. I am too small to be a wrestler, and I have no athletic ability, but I'd be a good promo man. So I love wrestling. I've always loved wrestling. What was the other one? 1/5 the devil. What does Richard Bandler say? I'm not the devil, though he's worked for me from time to time. I like that, so I adopted that as well. I accepted all my darkness and used it as a way to kind of understand other people, shine a light on it. Punk, Hypno-Punk, yeah. I was this thing called straight edge. I know in England we don't really talk about straight edge, but straight edge is what in England we'd call teetotaling. So I grew up with a dad who was basically an alcoholic, if we're being honest about it. He wasn't abusive or anything like that, but he would just drink way too much. And I would see him go through heart attacks after heart attack, stroke after stroke, and still decide to drink too much and to smoke too much. And for a long time, I desperately wanted to change him because I wanted my dad to be alive as I got older. And he is still with us now. But I realized, you can't change people that don't want to change. So I made the decision that I just didn't want to do any kind of drug. I don't care if other people drink. My girlfriends in the past have drunk. My friends drink. I just chose not to drink or to do drugs. And I remember when I was in a mental health facility when I was a teenager, after I tried to kill myself the second time, they would give me antidepressants. Mm-hmm. And at that stage, I knew that if I was going to get well and if I was going to heal myself, I didn't want it to be some magical fucking pill that I got addicted to. I know it. I needed it to be me that fixed me, that took the responsibility of saving me. So I used to do a little bit of magic, I know, and I'm getting back into it. I know that you do as well.
Excellent.
So when I was 16, 17, these nurses, psychiatrists would come in and they'd give me the antidepressants. And I just made a decision I didn't want to do this, but I had to because they would check under the tongue and everything. So I learned to palm them and hide them in areas of my mouth. And then I would sell them to other patients later on. So I got a little side gig while I was in this hospital, Charter Nightingale Hospital in London. It's actually a really cool place to stay. Free TV, free gym there. Yeah, but I decided the punk came from straight edge. And the straight edge movement in America was kids that wanted to enjoy punk music, but were too young to be served alcohol. So someone under legal age would go to a punk rock concert, they'd be allowed in, but if the establishment sold them alcohol or liquor, they'd be shut down. So they would draw an X on the back of their hand with a permanent marker, which signified to everyone in the club, they're underage, don't fucking sell them any alcohol. And then it become a whole musical movement based on punk rock and straight edge. That's That's where the punk part of my name comes. And when you add all of those dynamic elements together, you get 100% fucking badass. And yes, I'm humble.
Excellent. So look, I've noticed you bought out, well, when I say bought how, I see them pop up. Now, obviously, as people who visit LukeNosis.com will see, you do therapy. You see clients for therapy.
That's how I make money.
It seems that you mainly deal with, well, certainly the site mainly plugs weight loss or weight management, smoking cessation, anxiety and pain seems to be the main things.
Yeah.
Now, I can see a logic because those kind of quite often interrelate. I can interrelate. Is there a reason why you kind of mainly promote those 4 things on your website?
Oh, well, I realised they were the biggest reasons that people would search for hypnotists, certainly in Canada, and probably you'll notice in England. You know, for a long time it was just smoking. You know, we have the most successful rate in helping people quit smoking, and then that would lead into, secondly, people who wanted to lose weight or weight release, as we call it now. Then some kind of physical pain, and then anxiety. Probably anxiety, every kind of form of anxiety, from acute anxiety to generalized anxiety to PTSD to CPTSD. It's probably the number 1 reason people come to me now. And probably number 2 is addiction. And for addiction, I put multiple things there. It could be food, it could be crack, it could be heroin, it could be cigarettes, it could be addicted to a toxic relationship. But I put those all under the umbrella of, or toxic patterns and addictive mental patterns that they've got. So that would probably come under the second reason. So I just looked at why people coming to see me and just focus more of my time, energy, and marketing in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Which is a valuable lesson for anyone. There will be different things in some areas of the world we'll have more demand for as well. But yeah, that makes sense. Now, clearly, the website's focused on therapy, selling therapy to end users, clients, patients, general public, call it what you will. However, unlike a lot of, I'm going to say it, sorry if I upset some people watching, straight-laced, winky-wanky, arty-farty, tree-hugging, new age therapy types, you clearly are not shy from being a bit more in people's faces. Could I see videos appear where you are, for want of a better phrase, doing, not necessarily on the street, but it's what people dub street hypnosis. It's happening at, I'm sure I've seen it, psychic fairs, health fairs, out and about, and you will have stands there. I've seen you, clearly advertising your wares, but using rapid inductions and stuff. A lot of hypnotherapists shy away from doing stuff like that. I think it's frankly because they're too scared, or they've not been taught how to do it properly, or they don't appreciate the value of the marketing side of it. But why did you? Well, you've clearly embraced it. Why?
A couple of reasons. I'm a natural performer, number 1. And as Richard Bandler says, co-creative NLP, if you're in therapy, you're in entertainment. So be fucking entertaining. And the more entertaining and more you can capture someone's imagination, like someone who comes to you and they think it's the end of the world. If you can capture and lead their imagination and entertain them and then backdoor all those change methods into the back, they can have fun while they're working with you. And I realize that most people, when it comes to hypnotists, they only know what they've seen on TV, Paul McKenna or whoever the flavour of the month is at the moment. So then they would come to most hypnotherapists who will read a script and they'll just boredom hypnosis, right? Read a script to them, and then their eyes will open at the end, and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't feel I was hypnotized." And I just got sick and tired of that. I wanted people to have a real feeling of being hypnotized, whatever the fuck that is. So when they left my office, they're like, "He glued my eyes stuck." No, I didn't glue anything stuck. You stuck your own eyes together. He stuck my hand to the table. Well, no, I didn't do that. You did that for the power of your mind. And if I stuck my hand to the table, if I glued my own eyes, if I forgot my name, then maybe I could forget my problem. Maybe I could stick that New Year's resolution in place. Maybe I could close my eyes to all that pain that I used to see. And I use them as a metaphor, a physical metaphor. That if you can do this with the power of your mind, then these problems that you came in about are going to be easy and effortless to get rid of.
Excellent. I love that example. And if you play that back, when at the end of this interview, if you get a pad and pen and play it back and take notes, because there's actually that is a very good technique that Luke's just given an example of there. You know, get them to lock their eyelids together and tell them that metaphorically that means they can close their eyes to or seal off, move away from that once bothered them in the past. And as we know, rightly or wrongly, I don't know whether Luke will agree with me here, but when it comes to things like locking somebody's eyes together, sticking their hand to a table, or in fact anything, I frankly do not believe for 1 minute hypnosis is what most people say it is. My example of that, and then let's get your opinion on this, Luke, is that it's what I call the Dave Alman technique. And I think a lot of therapists have missed this in his book. It's in his book, and I think it's the most valuable thing in his book, but most people have misinterpreted it. And that's when he's talking about Almond eye closure. Imagine turning off all the little muscles around your eyelids. Imagine them glued together, or whatever other cobblers you want to come out with, because frankly, that doesn't particularly matter. He's right at the end. He says, on the count of 3, I'm just going to ask you to prove to yourself that you have done this properly. 1, 2, 3. Just prove to yourself you've locked your eyes together. Just try to open them. And yeah, there is that law of reversed effort thing. But ultimately, the real key and the real nugget is that phrase. Just prove to yourself that you've done this properly. And I find it doesn't matter if you tell them the hand's stuck to the table, prove to yourself it's there. Your eyes are locked, prove to yourself you've done it right, which is putting all the onus on them, but they end up giving you the power anyway, because they think you've done it. That's as complicated as it gets. You don't need formal inductions.
Well, to quote you, this is what I got from you many years ago, and I used to buy all your products like 20 years ago, was all this is bullshit. To quote Anthony Jacquin, this is just words. To quote Melissa Tears, this stuff's made up. Yeah. Doesn't mean we can't use these skills to help shift our clients, because all their problems are made up. I'm not suggesting they're not experiencing symptoms of anxiety, depression, being overweight or drugs. I'm not saying that for a moment, but it's all in their head. And once we can use the same theory to kind of get them out of their head and into their body, it's all just bullshit at the end of the day. So we're just using bullshit to deal with bullshit. And it works most of the time. Yeah. And when I say that to my clients, like, this is all bullshit, I'm like, yeah, hypnosis is total bullshit. And so is your problem. And I'm like, huh? Yeah, I'm like, your problem, like, you're scared of airplanes, right? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, you're in my office, which is on the ground floor, and it has no fucking wings, but you can close your eyes right now in no state of hypnosis and think about your upcoming trip in a week, and you can get a 10 out of 10 on the SUDS scale of fear. You're not on a fucking aeroplane. You're not there, but you can still do it in their mind. I know that they can. Yeah. So you're just doing it in your head, and you've just conned yourself unconsciously long enough thinking it's real, and it isn't. So we're going to use something as equally ridiculous to get you out of that trance and to put you in a better trance, so you've got more flexibility in your life. I used to have this big ego where it was all about me, and it was, I've got a magical skill and I'm doing this to you. I'm the hypnotist, right? And sometimes, depending on what they want me to be, if they want me to be the Wizard of Oz, I'll be the fucking Wizard of Oz. But then when it gets to the last 5 minutes of our last session, which is only 1 to 3 sessions with me, generally maximum, I give them back all the power. Just like in the end of The Wizard of Oz, where the wizard says, you know, Dorothy, you know, you could have gone home at any time. You didn't need me to send you home. You just needed to get your heels of your beautiful ruby slippers and tap the heels of them and say, there's no place like home. You had the power all along. It wasn't about me. So at the end, I'll give them that back. So when they leave, they're empowered. And ideally, I never see them again because they're done. And maybe I'll just get an email now and again telling me how great their life's going, because I don't want to be a hired friend.
Now, you've just brought in, by virtue of something you just said, you just made me think of a question, because earlier on you mentioned about spending probably way too much money on doing different courses to become the best. Yeah. And I think too many people do fall into that. I'm going to call it the Wizard of Oz mentality, searching for some holy grail. What would you say the so-called holy grail is? or rather isn't, or maybe it is. Maybe you found it. Maybe you just realised that it is Wizard of Ozified.
The Holy Grail is in a technique or a belief, or
You know what? I think people, too many therapists think if they find the magic bullet technique, that then they're going to get all the clients knocking the door down because they're not making enough money.
Well, this industry is like most industries, right? It's built on that. Let me tell you a quick story. When I was a punk kid and 17 and pretty much homeless, I had no money, no job, but I somehow convinced the bank to give me £10,000, $20,000, so I could become a practitioner of NLP, hypnosis, timeline therapy, a master trainer of NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis, and a trainer of NLP, timeline therapy, and instructor of hypnosis. And I'm a kid, right? And I'm in this room, and I'm the youngest person there. Everyone else is 40, 45. They're wearing suits. They're established. And I'm just some punk kid that read a Tony Robbins book one day, listened to a Paul McKenna CD, and wanted to change the fucking world. And I got sucked into it because I was a kid, right? Getting to the end of practitioner. Oh, we're going to teach you all the good shit in master practitioner. Another 3,000. Oh God, I've got to do this because I'm in that state of like I'm not enough now. I'll be 100% when I do practitioner. You get to the end of master practitioner. Oh, you got to do trainers training now. You know, and at some point, I spent so much money I didn't have, got like way in debt. Then I'm like, I am not doing another fucking course until I, one, start using the shit that I've learned to make the world a better place, and two, make some fucking money. So I made a pact with myself, no more courses, and no more courses until I'm making money and I'm helping people. So I went about 10, 15 years and I just stopped. And it wasn't until I was making sufficient money and helping a decent amount of people that I started doing courses again. There is no magic fucking bullet. There is no magical gun. This course that cures pain in 1 minute, or this tapping process that takes away all your problems. It doesn't fucking exist. Doesn't exist. And I've spent way too much money or way too much time. It doesn't exist. Should you want to be better? Yeah. Should you want to be faster at doing this? More efficient? Totally. There's no magic fucking bullet. The client will come in. I have no idea what I'm going to do with my client until they come in there in front of me, and I'll see what they're responding to. Not what I thought I should do, but I'll see what they're responding to, and I'll go in that direction because I've just done a lot of shit and I've got a lot of techniques in the background. And sometimes I'm just going to make shit up. And I'll tell my clients, hey, I just made that shit up. They're like, I know. I'm like, and it still worked, didn't it? They're like, yeah, I don't want to smoke anymore. I'm like, weird. Because you know what? Here's the technique. You know what the technique is? The technique is having the belief that you're good at this and being able to have that charisma to put it across. And you can almost say or come up with any technique. But if your intent's strong enough, your energy, if fucking energy exists, it's a weird woo-woo thing. I don't believe in it yet. It seems to work most of the time. Energy, it's a weird thing. Don't believe in it, but it just seems that energy works everywhere all of the time. But when I come in with, I know I'm going to make this work. I'm going to throw everything at them. I just have this total belief that I'm going to bring my bat, and all they got to do is bring their bat, and we're going to have a nice game of transformation when they come in. But the magic bullet is confidence and bringing a form of charisma in there, because no one wants to be fucking bored. If they want to be bored, they go see a counsellor and talk about their problems for 10 years.
I agree with you. Well, entirely. Years ago, Delavar, one of my tutors, and I'm going back over 30 years now. God, I feel old. He said to me, the only difference between stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy is that with hypnotherapy, you may just have an audience of one person. He said, like you said before, you're still putting on, or at least you should be, putting on a show, being the part that they perceive you to be. Now, yeah, would you say that you looking that bit different, your attitude being that little bit different, is an advantage? I can see how it would. I can see some people would perceive that maybe it might be a disadvantage. But I could see how it could be an advantage in terms of pattern interrupt, disorientating, confusing people.
I am a walking, talking fucking pattern interrupt. I am the most shiniest object in any room. There's a reason for that. So if I get a little kid that comes in, I know you have a little one. You know, if you say to a kid, close your eyes, guess what? They don't close their eyes. You say stop talking, guess what? They don't stop talking. You say sit down, they run around the room because they're kids, being kids. Sometimes I get kids. So I have to be the most entertaining. I need to be the most colourful thing to captivate their young mind. So all the focus is on me, so I can tell them beautifully woven metaphors to shift. And everyone else will get filtered out by me. People, before we had YouTube and people got to see me on video, it used to be even more powerful. I would get if people never saw me, I'd get the old shit moment, that I'd call it. They wouldn't see me. There's no videos. They'd come to my office. I'd open the door, they'd see me, and they would go into hypnosis immediately because they're like, oh shit, he don't look anything like the psychiatrist I've been to, the counselor, the doctor, and none of that shit worked. So maybe I've got a chance with this motherfucker.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
And if people are offended by the way that I talk or the way that I look, guess what? They ain't going to come and see me. I'm hard filtering out these snowflakes early because I want to work with people that are tough, and they want to put their toughness into changing their life. They're not wishy-washy on the fence. I'm going to fucking force them to make a decision. You're either going to change or we're not going to fucking work together. So what do you want to do?
Excellent. Which automatically, in turn, is kind of making sure you've got higher success rate.
Yeah.
You're filtering out the shit clients, is basically what you're saying.
Totally.
Excellent.
And then I would find out however much other hypnotists would charge, and I would charge far more than any other hypnotist that I know. You know, other than, I guess, heavy hitters like yourself. But yeah, no, I charge more and more. And right, I had a lady yesterday, and I charge a premium for my stop smoking. And we got to the end of the call, and she decided to sign up to become a non-smoker. And she finds out how much the investment is. She goes, "Look, I don't want you to be upset with me, but I need to ask you something." I'm like, "Totally. What do you want to ask?" She's like, "Is that a normal price?" I'm like, "What do you mean, is it a normal price? Do other hypnotists charge that?" I'm like, "I have no fucking idea what other hypnotists charge. That's how much I charge to help people change." She's like, "Oh, sure. I just wondered." Yeah, that was the objection. It's true. I mean, secretly, I knew what other hypnotists charge. Way too little. We've got someone round the corner who charges $50, $100 an hour. And I'm thinking, if I'm going to let someone come into my head, essentially a mind surgeon, if you will, do I want the cheapest mind surgeon to be in my head fucking things up? Or do I want someone that's got a track record of reviews, of videos, of testimonials in video form, and proof that this shit works, you know? And most people don't, right? Most hypnotists that I know, they say they're great, but they don't have 75 testimonial videos from 75 different people. They don't have tons of reviews on Google, good positive reviews and negative reviews. Here's a secret, folks. If you go on Google and it's only positive reviews, it's probably fucking bullshit, because not everybody likes everybody. This is just life.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely couldn't agree more. There's one or two people, just one or two I've seen, who actually do genuinely allow negative reviews to show up as well. I have done on occasion, purely because, like you said, nobody ever gets 100% positive feedback.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And yet, some people teaching courses will tell you differently.
Well, it's like the same people that teach you that this technique works for 100% of the people all of the time. And when I started to learn and get really good at this shit, is when I was sold that crock of shit that this technique works for everyone all the time, and it didn't. And they paid me a bunch of money, and I desperately wanted to help these people. And they're sitting in front of me, and the fucking script didn't work. And I'm in that room, and I've got another 30 minutes, and I'm like, that's when I learned to be good, because I learned to improvise, use what the person was giving to me, and make up my own shit.
Excellent. Massive lessons there for people watching. So what would you say is, because I'm pretty damn certain, do I remember correctly, you got yourself, please tell me it's you, got media coverage for hypnotic anesthesia so that people could have tattoos done without feeling the pain.
No, that wasn't me. But if it was a good story, yes, it was me.
Yeah, it was a good story. I don't know
else.
why, but in my brain, I've linked it with it being you.
Oh yeah. No, if it's good, I'd like to take credit for it, but I don't think it was me. But I have got videos of me hypnotizing people that did have tattoos, but none of them went viral or anything like that.
That's where I'm blocking it and messing it around in my head, because I have looked at your YouTube channel and sim videos and stuff, you know. That might be a niche for you to have a look into randomly.
Yeah.
So what would you say your biggest, well, not your biggest earner, because, you know, that's private to you anyway, but your biggest, forget the money side of it, your biggest passion, which type of clients do you enjoy treating most?
I don't care what the problem is. I like the people that come in and they're like, listen, I don't know about this hypnosis. I don't know if it's going to work for me, but I've hit threshold. They don't say threshold because most people don't know the term threshold. But they're like, nothing, like I need to fucking change my life. I'm done with living this shitty life, this shitty behavior, putting this shitty substance into my body, doing these shitty things in my brain. And I need to fucking change my life, and I need to do it now by hook or by crook. It's like the gun to the head moment is what I call it. And they're taking responsibility. They're like, you know I've got to change it. And I always tell people, I'm your teacher. I'm not your fucking therapist. I'm going to teach you, still this one from Melissa Tears, I'm going to teach you to use your mind better. I'm not your therapist. So when people come and they're ready to make that breakthrough, even though they may be a bit scared, a bit apprehensive, but they're there and they're ready to play full out, ready to change their own life, accept full responsibility, regardless of what the problem is. Those are my favorite people to work with. Because they're fucking ready, you know. They're like, let's go through the war. And I'll go through the fucking war with them, side by side, so we can heal what needs to be healed, let go of what needs to be let go of, and create a more compelling future. What I don't like, and I'm really heavily screening these people out, is the people that want to make me their savior to fixing them. Oh, Luke, you're going to hypnotize me to get rid of all of my problems and blah. I'm like, I ain't going to hypnotize you to do shit. I'm like, I'm going to teach you how to hypnotize yourself so you're empowered, so you never do this nonsense in your head anymore. How about that? Because I don't want them putting the failure on me, but I also don't want them to put the success on me. I want them to leave knowing, wow, I have the ability to do this in my own head. Of course, they're going to still give me kudos of that guy showed me how to do it, but I want them to leave feeling I learned a skill and my life is transformed. That guy helped me to do it. He mentored me, fellowship with me to do it, but I changed my own life.
Okay. Randomly kind of just going off on one here. I'm trying to ask the questions that people at home might have running through their head. So, you know, please don't take offense. Do you think that your appearance attracts to you more, pretty bluntly, I suspect, compared to me, okay, no tattoos, because now visually people can see videos, they got an idea before they book. Do you find, since we've got into the world where the social media is people do know in advance, that you get more people coming to you who have got lots of body art, who are more mirroring almost what you perceptively look like? The irony of it being that you don't drink and you don't take drugs and you never have done, from what you know, but in their heads they may think that you would understand them better because you look like one of them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I get everyone. I get everyone from the 5-year-old kid that pees the bed that doesn't have any tattoos, all the way to the 80-year-old older lady who has dementia, who has gone through a world war or two, and everyone in between. So, no, I'd like to say, oh yeah, I've got this market or this market, but really, it's everyone in between. It's a person who lives down the hallway that's been smoking for 50 years. who's got now COPD, who's on, you know, government pension, stuff like that, all the way to celebrities and everything in between. You know, there is no one type of person that I see. They all come to me, but you know, I filter out a lot of what I call snowflakes, because I'm going to use colourful language. As I said, I'm a walking, talking pattern interrupt. And if people are going to get offended by the way that I look or the things that I say on the telephone, then they're going to get fucking offended by being in the same room as me. So I get a lot of people that are like, Luke, I like you because you're straight talking. You're not giving me any bullshit. I feel that I often get this. It's a weird thing. People like, I feel that we've got a connection. I'm like, oh, all right, that's great. I don't know why they feel that, but they feel it. It's like, I feel that I can tell you anything. Like my girlfriend will say to me, whenever we do an expo or we go to a networking meeting, it's like, all these people come up to you and they tell you their life stories. I'm like, yeah, it's because they think I'm a hypnotist. Well, I'm a hypnotist, and they think that means I'm a therapist. She goes, no, it's not that. It's even when they don't know. People just open up around you. It's almost like you give them freedom, that they don't feel they're being judged by you. Maybe that's the way that I look. Maybe it's the way that I speak. But people will tell me some weird and wacky things, even if they're not paying me, about themselves. I don't know if it's the way that I look, how I come across, that people are like, you know what, I think this guy's a straight shooter and I don't think he'd judge me. Maybe. I don't know.
I think there's probably elements of everything that are behind that. It's interesting you just mentioned networking meetings. The majority of hypnotherapists that I see talking online going, oh, I can't get enough business, or, you know, I'm not getting enough clients, what should I do? The one thing they seem to shy away from is networking meetings. Now, I spoke with Sheila Granger, the gastric band lady.
I like Sheila. Yeah.
And in Sheila's interview, which is on hypnosisweek.com, she basically said, networking meetings, get to them. And she gave her thoughts and ways of dealing with them, which I won't repeat here because things are to watch. How do you approach networking meetings?
So I go to these meetings. Here's how I approach life. I look what everyone else is doing and I do the fucking opposite. If everyone is going left, I go right. You know, if everyone's wearing a suit, I will wear a fucking vest or a tank top. And I stick out like a sore thumb. And when I was younger, I used to have this belief that, oh, this makes me weird or this makes me different. And I'd be like, oh, my God. And as I got older, I fucking embraced it. And the more I embraced my difference, the more successful I became as a man, as a hypnotist, and in life. I just accepted who I was and I stopped trying to be like anyone else. So I go to these networking meetings that typically are filled with people. They get up early. They're in their nice suits there. They're all being nice to one another, professional, giving the same fucking boring 30-second commercial, not really wanting to listen to you at all, but they want to pitch you their stuff, and it would do my head in. So I would go there looking the way that I do, doing the things, and people like, oh, you're a hypnotist. Yeah, I'll hypnotize me. Great, put your feet together, don't move you. And I go straight into it with people. I would go straight into hypnosis there. And it blows their mind because they're like, we had another, and I'll hypnotize them. And they'll say later, we had another hypnotist a couple of years ago, he came in, and we asked him to hypnotize us or if he could give us a demo. And he's like, oh, well, you need to sign this document and you need to come into my office and it's not ethical to do this and blah, blah, blah. No, it's because they were pussy and they were too scared to do hypnosis in case it fouled and it looked like a fucking fraud in front of people. That's why they didn't do it. And I find the best ways, I can talk a bunch of shit or I can do it with someone. So when someone comes up to me and says, oh, you're a hypnotist, tell me about hypnosis. I say, well, I could fucking bore you for the next hour and tell you a bunch of stuff you don't need to know. Or we could just do it. What would you prefer? I give you the experience of it or I just fucking bore you? Oh, you could do it right here, right now in front of all these people. Yes, and I'll go into it. Because to give someone the experience, you know this, versus just a bunch of vomiting fucking words at them, giving someone that experience is so much more powerful to them than a fucking sales script.
Yeah, no, totally, completely agree. It's just
to answer your question again, we all get up at the networking meeting. Everyone's giving their 30-second boring commercial. I'll get up and I'll do mine, and it will just fucking go silent, and I'll get a round of applause. And then people will come up to me after, like, oh, that was amazing. You need to come here more often. Because I see what they're doing. I don't want to be like them. I do what I do, and then people flock to me like, oh, shit, you're different. I am different. It's good to be different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As long as you've got thick enough skin to put up with the fuckwits that like to attack people who are different. But
yeah, I have to be careful. You know, our good friend Bob Burns wants to scratch my car up or something.
does
You
he?
know, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I've never met the guy, never said anything bad about this guy in my life. And then one day on a forum, I put a street hypnosis video up there, you know, and he started negatively adding some comments underneath it. And I responded, and I was respectful at first. And then he threatened to like key my car. And what I always found funny, I've never met the guy. But I know that I've confronted some. I've not had the opportunity to meet Mr. Burns yet, but I'd like to. But I like to meet people that I call internet like tough guys, and I've met a few of them last year that would talk shit online, and I'd be at a seminar and they'd be in the room, and I would see this person from a different country, and I'm like, oh, I remember last year they were talking shit about me. So I'd wait till I was with my girlfriend at the time, like, oh, I remember that guy. He talked shit about me online. And she's like, don't say anything until after tomorrow lunchtime when the course is nearly done. So, boy, you don't have no idea how tough it was to hold that in for fucking a day and a half, right? So it comes to the lunchtime the next day. I won't say the guy's name, but I go up to him. I'm like, do you know who I am? Oh, no. Oh, really? You were talking a lot of shit about me online last year, and we had a little conversation. I wondered if you'd want to say those things to my face right now. Yeah. And then he apologized, wanted to buy me a drink and stuff. And yeah, usually, here's the thing with me: if I'm going to talk shit about you online, I'm going to be prepared to back it up. If I think you could kick my ass in the real world, I ain't going to take shit about you online in case you find me in the real world. So don't talk. Here's the moral of the story: don't talk shit about someone unless you're willing to have the conversation to them face to face. And my experience has been people were a lot nicer to my face.
Sad, love. There's far too many people. I mean, I didn't bring his name up, but if you brought Bob Burns' name up, fuck it. I'll briefly say for people who don't realise, if you go on my Facebook, facebook.com/Alex the Hypnotist, then click on photos, and then choose albums, you'll find one that says screenshots and evidence of Bob Burns' illegal, defamatory comments about me. And they are just a tiny percentage of the screenshots I've got on file of Bob Burns posting outright fabricated lies and defamatory nonsense about me on the internet in various places over the past few years, including him blatantly saying that he never came to me for advice, marketing, advertising, publicity advice on launching his The Swan DVD. And when I pointed out that yes, he did, and I had all the evidence on file, he blatantly said, if you've got the evidence, publish it on the internet. And I've got the screenshot in that folder that he said that, so just to be clear, I've not broken any GDPR laws, no data protection laws. I only bought evidence online when Bob Burns himself blatantly said I was allegedly lying and that he had never come to me for advice. All the evidence is there. You can just have for yourself. He is the liar, fantasist, nut job. Yeah.
Well, what is he got? He's got the swan, right? I'm developing the cobra because you know the cobra always eats the swan.
Well, I think it's more of the naked sooty puppet. The interesting thing about the swan is that he calls it the swan. He says there's no hypnosis. And I pointed out to him when he did consult me for marketing advice that swan, he should put on the DVD cover, he should have done. It stands for subconscious wave analytical negation, because that fixation of attention is the bypass of the critical faculty analytical area. And that's what SWAN actually really should stand for. He chose not to, fair enough. But it's nothing new, like anything else. If you get old books on the pendulum, they advise you to hold it like that. Now, if you take the pendulum away, boom, you've got the swan. Old books on the pendulum are training books on the swan.
Here's another thing, right? And I got a lot of heat about this a couple of years ago before I went to Hypno-Punk.
Bob Burns is probably going to have an embolism when somebody will bring this to his attention.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Do you give a shit? No. If someone's going to...
No, because nobody will ever say anything to my face. It's the bottom line. And I'd be more than happy.
I have no doubts he'll say something to my face at Blackpool Magic Convention, which I know he's going to, where he's posted veiled threats online about how he's going to be at Blackpool for the 3 days, and how if I was to go and extend the hand of friendship to him and buy him a drink that he would accept, but he still thinks I'm a tit, to which I replied, well, guess what? I'm not going to buy a pint for someone who's defamed me on numerous occasions on the internet with fabricated, offensive bullshit. And yet he's got the audacity to call himself an ethical therapist.
It blows my mind, right? There's these people in hypnosis, and I got a lot of heat from this a couple of years ago. I made a video which was basically nothing is original. That doesn't mean that a hypnotist, like a musician, doesn't get a bit of this, a bit of this, a bit of this, and like Bruce Lee would do through the martial arts system of JKD, Jeet Kune Do, make his own system out of all of this. But they're all different moving parts. And these hypnotists, some of them understood it. Some of the most famous hypnotists were like, they got it, they smiled, they accepted it. And some of these ham and eggers, some of these people on the midline would be like, well, I invented this and I invented that. No, we didn't invent shit. None of us invented any of this hypnosis. It's just we're taking from other people, and maybe we had a little bit of seasoning here or a little bit of seasoning there. But none of us invented any of these techniques. If we look back, you know, it's just a combination of this thing, along with this thing, along with this thing. It's all the same shit. It's all visualization. It's all affirmation. It's all relaxation. It's all positive vibes. It's all the same stuff, just in a different order. None of us are special snowflakes.
Sometimes a different order, but the bizarre thing is, if you're well read enough, and I'm not trying to say that, you know, I read more than most, although I do read about 4 or 5 books a week, and I've done for about the past 35 years on this subject. And in particular, I read books from the 1700s, 1800s, stuff that's out of print, cost a fortune to get. They call it mesmerism, suggestive therapeutics. Some of it, they actually call it electricity. They refer to it as electricity magnetism. It's fucking all weird, different old names for what later becomes hypnosis. And you look, and there are actually some of these fangle-dangle new bells and whistles courses you can go on with a fancy name and a logo. And actually, the exact process is there, action for action, practically word for word, in books from the 1800s. Now, is that synchronicity, independent creation, or are perhaps some of these trainers intelligent enough to know most people won't go and look at the old books so they can find it, take something, give it a new name, repackage it, and sell it, and cause junkies keep buying stuff?
Because it's this scarcity mindset, right? And the scarcity mindset, this is what I think a lot of hypnotists go for. Is like, oh, this is my baby. This is my ultimate destroy pain in one session technique, right? This is my baby, and no one must use this. It's funny when you do a course with someone who has a technique like that and you pay them to become a practitioner, then they get upset. That's the weird thing, you know, because you paid to become a practitioner. But people will be, they think this scarcity, like, oh my God, if someone else does this technique, there's only a certain amount of pie that can go out there. And if they're going to fix all the broken people, then what am I going to do? There's enough people out there that need to be healed. Doesn't matter how we do it, as long as we do our best job ethically to try and heal these people with the best ability and empower them to do it. None of us made up shit. None of us have the magic answer. None of us have the magical technique. We're all just doing our best job that we can to help people. So these fucking, I've got a big ego, but I appreciate I didn't fucking invent anything. I could sell that I invented a whole bunch of stuff really, really convincingly, but I didn't. And I don't need to hang my hat on that because I'm good enough at what I do. But some of these hypnotists, their only thing is, oh, I invented this technique. And this is my significance in the world. And if you're using it or something like it, and you're not always crediting me and putting me over, then you know, my ego is going to shrink, and my dick size. I don't know. It's just fucking ridiculous.
It's completely sad, which is why I know one of the reasons I get slagged off is because I blatantly say, look, I blatantly say I've invented fuck all except some names for long established techniques that also come with creative looking logos and a marketing strategy behind them to get clients through the door and part with money. But in terms of the actual techniques, if you can be bothered going finding them, a lot of them are in books from the 1800s, you know, and prior to that. If you want the lazy option, then buy my course, because what you're really buying is logos, names, an advertising, marketing plan, which I would argue, you know, in terms of getting clients through the door is more important than your new fucking technique, whatever it may be.
That's another thing that annoys me. I meet a lot of hypnotists, and I go up to them, and one of the questions I'll ask is, how do you get clients? And most hypnotists will tell me the same thing. Oh, it's word of mouth. Now, I'm pretty fucking good at what I do, and I charge a premium. I've been around a long time. I make a very good living at helping people, more than most hypnotists that I know that are not famous, should we say. And I can't make a living off a referral. So I know they're either not making any money doing it, or they're fucking lying because they're too scared of, well, if I tell him about the direct marketing concept I'm using, maybe he will use it as well and I'll have less pie. And it's just dishonest. Like, I've had people that come up, Luke, what do you do to get clients? Oh, here's the 10 things that I'll tell people. I'll tell them exactly what I do, because I have no fear, because I realize that most people are too fucking lazy to go out there and to do the things that I've done to get people. And even if they did, good. The world needs more good fucking change workers out there. So great, go out there and use that. Like, I put most of my stuff online for free. If most people were smart enough, they would just watch my videos and would never need to come and see me, because all the work's already out there. But people need the ritual of being in a room with someone, of an induction, of me using their name. Yeah. And yeah, there's an element of people needing that. And if energy exists, you know, being in that room and working with the subtleties of being with people. But nobody needs me. Nobody needs you. Nobody needs any of us. If I could write a book, right, the best-selling personal development book of all time, and that would be a book, and it would have like all these fucking pages, and in the middle it would just say, have self-esteem. That's it. If your self-esteem was sufficiently high enough, none of us would be addicted to anything. None of us would be depressed, anxious, or over-medicate, because we'd know we were enough and we're okay. And in the self-help fucking industry would just collapse, because everyone would be empowered.
I could not agree with that more. And anyone who goes to hypnosisweek.com and clicks on past episodes, you'll see there's a load of free training videos there as well. And what Luke has just summed up so nicely in a sentence, I expand on further, talking about self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image and all that. But it's all about the way the person feels about themselves. And if they feel good enough about themselves, then they don't need something to fill a gap, as the metaphor goes. They don't need the smoke screen or to drown an issue or to literally escape it with drugs or whatever. So yeah, 1,000,000%, I'm with you there, dude. So you make stuff up. In terms of conventional stuff, Lo, I say conventional. What is conventional? But you know what I mean. In terms of what people classically perceive hypnotherapy to be, because people watching this are probably hypnotherapists. What's your sort of favourite go-to techniques?
Honestly, man, here's the weird thing, right? I'm not married to any technique. Like, if I find a psychologist that's using a great technique, I'm not going to poo-poo them because they're a psychologist. If they've got a good technique that I find, guess what? I'm using that shit to help people to heal themselves. So I'll go through, I'll go through stages. For a lot of time back in the day, I'd use your complete mind therapy to help people when I was getting first started off, because it was just simple. It was almost a one size fits all, and you could fit someone's issue into there and do a nice session with them. And I would figure I was really good. And then a year would go by, I'm like, I was shit. And I'd go on to something else. I'd be like, oh, now I'm a great hypnotist with this superpower. Another year or 6 months go by, I'm like, shit. I used to think I was good then. I'm great now. Now I'm doing awesome. I got this technique. I'm so confident. Another year goes by, I'm like, shit. I was delusional. I was helping a lot of people. But I'm always evolving, man. I realize with my brain, I've always got to be doing different stuff, because if I'm doing the same techniques over and over again, I get bored, and people will feel it. I've always got to shake them up a little bit and do even just something a little bit different, or use this in a different order, because I get bored. And if I'm bored, this isn't good for people, because they need me to be in the fucking moment, in the trenches with them, you know, power of now and all that shit. But I have auxiliary tools that I like to give my clients. Like I'll use tapping procedures like the 6-step faster EFT that I'll teach my clients for pretty much any kind of problem. Really simple to do. The spinning technique, different eye movement desensitization therapies. I mean, I started off doing the Elman back 20 years ago. Didn't use the Elman for the last 15 years. I've recently got back into it, and now I understand it on a completely different level. I'm like, why did I stop using this for 15 years? It does so much. So sometimes, yeah, I'll do that. I'll be like, why did I stop using it? That was actually a solid piece of self-help material there. I should bring that back in. But all I know is, however good or great that I feel that I am now, a year from now, I'll look back thinking, shit, I thought I was great then. I was helping a lot of people, but now I'm great, because it just always changes, man. I won't be doing the same stuff 6 months from now. That's all I know for sure.
Okay, so what do you see? What sort of plans you got for the future? What's the dream, as it were?
The dream. Well, I'm going to get to meet Russell Brand in a couple of months. So I want to get him on my podcast, Unstuck with Hypno-Punk Transformation with Edge. I like Russell Brand. He's kind of an interesting character. I have an idea where I want to do shows. I'll go a lot to these conferences, and people are, oh, you're in stage hypnosis. I'm like, no. They're like, what? I'm like, no, I do change work with people, or you might call it therapy. Like, you need to be on stage. I'm like, I know, but I didn't just want to do a dog and pony hypnosis show like most other hypnotists will do, because it's already been done to death. And I love magic, right? I love magic, but I don't have a $5 million budget like Chris Angel or David Copperfield, right? So I'm like, I want to do like a fusion of magic and hypnosis together, mentalism, but on the big stage where there's a certain amount of edginess to it, where people are like, something weird and bad could happen, not to anyone else, but to this guy. But I need to keep watching, because this is fucking captivating. And as they're being entertained, then I can go back door them with some beautiful suggestions to be better people and to be happy out there, why they think they're being entertained consciously.
Cool. So pushing the boundaries yet again.
Yeah.
No. So look, bugger, I just looked at the time. We're getting close to the sort of the hours. The rough, we do overrun generally a little bit. I'm going to ask you. I ask everyone the same question to finish.
Give it to me.
And obviously, pretty much everyone answers differently. Sometimes there's some similarities, but I'm going to love to hear what your answer is to this, because I love the fact that this is going to be direct to the point. Somebody knocks on your door. It's hypothetical, this. And we'll just it doesn't really matter what the book is, but I'm saying it's the Dave Alman green or blue covered book, depending on which edition you've got. That's all they've read this out. Just read this, not read anything else yet, not watched any DVDs, not been on any live courses, fuck all, no preconceived ideas, but they've just read that and they've decided, you know what, I think I want to become a hypnotherapist. I think I want to expand on the seed that's been planted by this book. And they want to be good at it in terms of technically being good at it, but they also want to be good at it in terms of turning it into a business. But you can only give them 3 top tips. What would, gut instinct, your 3 top tips be to them to set them on the right
path? So this
path?
is not only to be better at their craft, but to make money from doing it as well. Okay. I tell them to start hypnotizing people straight away. Now, disclaimer, I'm not saying they should be hypnotizing a soldier with post-traumatic fucking stress disorder when they've just read a book, but they should give people the experience of hypnosis just for shits and giggles immediately. Friends, colleagues, people at fetes, people at fairs, Hell, people at City Hall start getting into actually having some balls and hypnotizing people who put their hand up and say, yeah, I'd like to experience some hypnosis, and be prepared to fail. You're going to fail, and you can turn every failure around. We know that, but be prepared that some people. And when I find that when people foul in hypnosis, most of the time it's not that the hypnotist fouled, it's that the client just didn't follow the instructions. They didn't understand what their role was to play in this dynamic. Yeah. I remember having a client where I'd be like, all right, go ahead and close your eyes. And they're staring at me. And I'm thinking, is it my accent or what? So I say, all right, again, go ahead and close your eyes. Give the non-verbal. Their eyes are still open. That's all right. Sleep. Give me all of your money and your credit card number. Thank you. Feel good while you do it. And then I would look at them. I'd be like, is there a reason you're not closing your eyes? And they would look at me like, I thought you were going to make me close my eyes. So I stick my fingers in their eyes and they close their eyes. Some people are just fucking dense. But go out there and start doing fun, experiential hypnosis with people immediately, number one. Number two, get a website, get fucking something out there, get a footprint on the internet that says, I'm a hypnotist, with a picture of you, maybe a video on that. And number three, get off these fucking Facebook forums and groups where people are bitching and complaining, having a pissing contest who has the biggest dick. Just get off those things, just negative bullshit. Those would be the three things I think I'd give people. Excellent.
The only thing I'd add to that is I encourage get out there, and the only way you get good at something is by actually doing it. But just as a disclaimer, if there are check if there's any relevant laws in your country. And if there are, make sure you abide by them, and obviously ensure the safety of your volunteers at all times. So don't stand them on the edge of a pavement where they could fall into the road type thing, as you can see some bloody people doing on YouTube videos. Why they ever thought it was a good idea to upload those YouTube videos where people are stood on the edge and nearly get killed, God only knows. But hey, that's an entirely different story. Excellent. Is there anything, well, obviously, tell people how they can find you, although pretty much it is a case of going to LukeNosis.com, and the link will be below the video, or typing in Luke's name into YouTube, into Google, you'll find it. He just pops up.
And most of the stories on Google are true.
Most of them.
Most of them. Don't believe everything you read. If it's good, it was probably true. If it was bad, it probably wasn't true, and it was probably people that made it up. But you can go on YouTube. I've got over 1,000 videos, all from my TED Talks to live performances to street hypnosis, to talks that I've given to different groups, to actually change. I keep wanting to say therapy, but I don't like the word therapy. So personal change sessions that I've done with real people. I'm all over Facebook. Again, just put LukeNosis, Luke like me, then Gnosis, like the end of hypnosis, Nosis. Instagram, LukeNosis. Twitter, LukeNosis. And my podcast is called Unstuck with Hypno-Punk. That's my name on the street. Transformation with Edge. So it's like 30 minutes where it's generally me. I don't have guests, where I'll take a subject and I call it personal development with balls. Personal development with all the fluffy stuff taken off of it. It's just direct. It's in your face with all the nonsense, all the fat taken out of it. Unstuck with Hypno-Punk. Transformation. Transformation with Edge, however you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Excellent. So check it out. I mean, bloody hell, resources galore there for free, for Christ's sake. You have no excuse for not expanding your mind, expanding your horizons, unless you are easily offended by the kind of language that's been used in the past hour. And if you are, then, well, fuck you.
And like I say, send your hate emails to mal@LukeNosis.com.
Yeah, indeed. Excellent. Thank you so much, Luke. It's been an absolute pleasure. It is a refreshing change to speak to somebody who is definitely equally as, but arguably potentially more outspoken than myself. It'll distract away slightly for a while. This will have a warning above it when I put it out live. Warning, strong language used.
No, one last quick story. A few years ago, I was talking at the Canadian Hypnosis conference. It was my second year, and I noticed above my name it said disclaimer. So I went up to the lady who organised it, Joanne Eady, and I said, "Why does it say disclaimer above my talks?" She goes, "Luke, I love you. A lot of people love you, but some people are a bit scared of you, and you use some colourful language. So we have to use the word disclaimer above your name." It made me feel good about myself. So disclaimer away.
Excellent. Hey, you know, personally, I couldn't give a fuck. I do the same thing myself with my seminars. That's why, you know, it really upsets some people. I just get it. I get it. You're speaking the truth. And the people watching who fucking argue, they know deep down that what you're saying right as well. The trouble is they can't be seen to agree because it would attack their own sense of identity of, you know, they're the one who's always right. And that's the... But the trouble, it comes back to what you said before about their self-esteem, their lack of self-worth and whatnot. Very insightful. Get your pad, get your pen, watch this again from the beginning, take notes, visit those resources, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Hypnosis Week. Thanks again, Luke. Absolute star.